Hello, welcome to the Autonomous Developer Sync for November 17th, 2025. We are rapidly approaching the close of the year. It's amazing. All right, well, we've been continuing to move forward. I think there's still quite a bit going on here. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it? Jim, you want to kind of give an update on community updates?
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. So first of all, yeah, if you are watching on LinkedIn, on X, on your phone, maybe, in fact, on any platform on your phone, you may see that we are now streaming in multiple aspect ratios. So you should get a better experience. Let us know. Drop a comment in the chat. We should see it if it's working well for you. So you're going to see us in portrait on your phone and landscape on your desktop. Okay, with that bit of admin, so no big hot topics. Unfortunately, there's nothing exciting going on. Nothing's broken. Farming remains stable on both mainnet and Kronos. If you know different, please do let us know in Discord, on the forum, in Telegram, wherever you prefer. Crossing the Narrow Sea results, they are now available on the forum. There will be a link down below after the call. The results of the multiple runs that we did are stored on auto drive, and we have invited a public audit. So if you want to, there are instructions there on how to reproduce the results yourself. And we've mentioned this previously, but if you want to sync your own Taurus node, there is a snapshot available. It's linked in the results. There's a guide on how to do that. Obviously, that is not a substitute for syncing your own node from scratch. But if you do just want to spin it up and run the tool, use the READMEs, there's a great guide in the results. And yeah, I'm pleased to see there's quite a bit of conversation on the thread. So I can see that there are members of the community checking them out, which is wonderful to see. Makes it all worthwhile, of course. But yeah, please comment in the thread on the forum or ping us in the usual places if you've got any questions there. Okay, roadmap posts, some items. So this is something that we know the community have been asking for a while now. We are planning on putting out 2 posts, actually. We split it into 2 because there's quite a lot of content there. So what we're actually going to do is there's going to be an initial post, part 1, which is going to focus on those roadmap items which are on the critical path to game of domains. Obviously, we want to get back to that as soon as possible. Keep an eye on the announcement channels for when that goes out. Fingers crossed, if everything goes to plan, we'll be getting one this week on Wednesday and one, the larger part 2, more comprehensive rundown next Wednesday. So keep an eye out for both of those. Okay, we are also planning to relaunch the contribution and translation contests with AI3 instead of USDC as the prizes. Now that we have transfers enabled and listings, it's time. We have had some, we would have liked to do it quicker, but we have had some logistics to tackle, to work through before we could do this, but we're just about ready. One of those logistics, actually, Emil's going to give us a bit of a rundown on the new tool that we're going to use as part of the reward calculation process. So stay tuned for that. Final item on my list is we have a refreshed bridging guide, which is Randy's been working on it. This is to incorporate all the latest updates, obviously, since mainnet. We've had a bridging guide, but we've given it a nice kind of refresh and restructured it. The PR is currently in review, but if everything goes to plan, that should be merged this week. We'll put an announcement out when that is available. That is it for me this week. Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Jim. All right, jumping into highlights, work being done in the project, the various aspects. We'll start off with Ved. You want to kind of give us some updates on protocol?
Yeah. Hey everyone. So since our last dev sync, main focus has been getting the chain alerts in a more stable format. Essentially, chain alerts does monitor the chain, including the slot times, the block productions, and also anything that we would ideally be interested in knowing what's happening on the chain. We are going to be making some more changes to the chain alerts for the slot monitoring. Essentially, see how the timekeepers are keeping up with the network. We've also recently deployed offline operator detection on Kronos. So far, everything's looking so good. So most likely, this is going to be deployed in mainnet pretty soon. We still want to do a few more rounds of testing and data gathering before we actually deploy it to mainnet. Yes, and Jeremy has been working super hard on getting the dev node for easier integration and development testing. So essentially, with our current setup is that we have a farmer node, we have a main consensus node, and the farmer nodes ideally produce blocks. And this is usually a bit more time taking if you want to do a faster development. And that's where the dev node comes into the picture. It completely eliminates the farmer. The node itself just simply starts producing blocks so that you could start testing out the integrations faster. Yep, that's pretty much on the protocol side.
Thanks. Yeah, so that the dev node kind of came to be as I was trying to add integration testing to the Auto SDK as I've been upgrading kind of the XDM experience and wanted to test that and wanted to add integration testing to CI, and it was very difficult to get farming working in CI in order to do this. So that should be, we should have that in probably Docker format here by the end of the week. So anybody who is also building on Espo, I know that somebody's working on an XDM interface of their own. They should be able to do some testing and such of that. It should facilitate the testing of that also as well. So we'll get some documentation up once that is complete, and hopefully that will improve our developer experience significantly. All right, so in Auto SDK, as I just mentioned, we did improve the XDM experience, kind of aligned it with the most recent runtime, and that is now live in the latest release. It was a breaking change, so if you were building on the XDMs in Auto SDK before this, you'll need to see where those breaking changes occurred and adjust appropriately. But it should make life much easier for anyone who's building. Of course, I would love feedback to know what else is needed to make building easier. Also, I think we mentioned this last time, but we've launched a pre-compile for XDM from EVM, the transporter from EVM to consensus or EVM to any other domain, to make it easier to integrate with EVM tooling. So you'll be able to use your MetaMask wallet and use ethers and such to call an XDM. They'll be adding Auto SDK support around that here in the next week or two. So that will make again kind of building on the network easier. And I think that is all I have for updates around that. Emil, you want to show what you've been working on? It's kind of a cool tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey everyone, let me just take over your screen sharing, Jeremy. Yeah, as Jim mentioned, the Subspace Foundation is getting ready to relaunch the contribution and translation contests and to switch payments from USDC to AI3, the native network token. But with the price forever changing, we needed to come up with a clear and transparent way to calculate the average monthly token price. So for example, if we are rewarding the October translation contest winner, we are converting the monthly reward of $50 into AI3 using the average token price for October. So let me show how it will be done in this scenario. So we'll go to the tool, we'll select the start date as the beginning of October, and the end date as of last day of October. We'll fetch the data. And the calculation method itself is pretty straightforward. So we are collecting, we collect every daily closing price for AI3 throughout the month. Then we add them all together and divide by the number of days to get the average token price for selected month. So for example, if a month has 31 days of trading data, all 31 closing prices are added together and divided by 31. As a source of the data, we're using CoinGecko. So CoinGecko has a pretty good API. So we're using CoinGecko API to fetch all the data, to build the chart, and to fetch the daily closing prices of AI3, and then we calculate the selected token price for select period. As usual, to ensure complete transparency, the Subspace Foundation has made the calculation tools publicly available, and we can go to the GitHub repo briefly. And the repo is deployed with the GitHub pages, and you can navigate back to the website using the GitHub pages deployment link. As with every tool that we release, community is encouraged to review the code, test the tool, and share the suggestions for improvements. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about the tool, Jeremy.
Looks great, Emil. I especially appreciate the straight up line there over the weekend. So thanks for putting that in there as well. Yeah, this is great. I think this will make life much easier as we are giving out awards for contributions. This will make life easier, I think, as we start looking at grants, Jim, or we have been looking at grants. So great work, Emil. All right, I actually see, I'm looking here in the comments, Jim, and I see a really applicable one, I think, to what some things we've been kind of ruminating on in the background. So
yeah, a very timely question, and I know this is something that you've been thinking a lot about, isn't it, Jeremy?
Yeah, it is. So sorry, first of all, if you've had questions on X. I don't know, they got missed. I haven't seen this question before popping up, but this is something that we're actually very actively looking at right now. Our research team, its primary focus is kind of looking at both our exposure and different paths. I guess, and the question, I guess, for those who can't see, is the autonomous blockchain quantum resistant? So the short answer is no, not yet, as most blockchains aren't, but we are actively kind of auditing and putting together a roadmap for how we'll go from our current state to a quantum resistant state. So there are many layers to this. There's things like wallets, right? Elliptic curve encryption elliptic curves are going to be broken. They'll be able to go from a public key to a private key. That's not great for anybody with a bunch of assets and a public key that's been exposed. So I actually I have a branch somewhere that was integrating an early version of Falcon, a not yet NIST approved version of Falcon, into the options for accounts on the chain. So it's not ready to go or anything, but just kind of starting to investigate what that looks like. It is very, all of the quantum resistant signature schemes are quite bulky. So we have to take that into account, what that impact is on kind of throughput and bandwidth requirements for the network. And then, that's one layer. We've got consensus is built on things like KZG commitments, and KZG commitments are exposed because they're also somewhat dependent on elliptic curve cryptography. So we're looking at potentially moving from KZG commitments to Merkle proof. So that's one layer. libp2p also has some exposure, so in our peer-to-peer networking. But yes, it is something we're actively looking at. We're not there yet. The timeline on Q-Day is very unknown, but I do think it is prudent for everyone in kind of blockchain world to be looking at these things deeply right now, trying to get ahead of the curve. With AI, the development of new technology and new breakthroughs, it's kind of like a self-reinforcing thing, and so it is possible that quantum computing, kind of what we thought was maybe 20, 30 years down the road, is more like 5 years down the road with the assistance of AI. And who knows what's already out there? You know, there's governments and such are working on this problem as well. Maybe not as publicly as some of the companies that we see. So, yep, it's top of mind. You'll be seeing, I think, more posts from us and more research from us regarding this, and you'll probably start seeing some updates in the protocol as well. All right. I think that was our only question for today.
Yeah, great question, Marcus. Thank you.
Yeah,
and sorry we missed it on X.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and take us out, Jim?
Yeah, sure. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss one of our calls. Comment down below and let us know what you think on today's topics. Would you like to hear more about the, our research into post-quantum cryptography, because it is quite an expansive subject. We do touch on it in the roadmap posts that are going out, but we don't want to get too bogged down. So let us know if that's something that interests you. We'll keep on. But yeah, comment down below, and of course, everyone, keep building with Autonomous. Thanks, everyone.